Thanks, everybody. So what's my goal today? My goal today is to generate referrals, right?
Say your name sometime.
Hi, Joe.
My name is Jose Imanez. So how am I going to do that? I'm not going to use PowerPoint or anything like that. I don't do that kind of stuff. I put some literature on the tables. So if you can take away just one thing today, even if it's just my business card, if you don't already have it in your little card folder, and if you can think of just one thing that you connect with me on, then I'll have accomplished my job this morning. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Wisconsin, but in 1969, Uncle Sam tapped me on the shoulder and said, "I want you," and I found myself out in Southern California, lived in San Diego for 22 years. While I was there, I was in the Navy for 4 years. I went to San Diego State University. I got involved in the food business. I did sales for 7 years, and then I ended up becoming a plumber. So I started a little late in life. And in 1991, I decided to come back home to Wisconsin. So I came back home to Wisconsin as a plumber, and I took the exams here to get licensed in the state, and I've been doing that ever since. I'm glad I'm home. Southern California is a beautiful place to visit, but after 22 years, it either got old or it got tired of me, one or the other. But so I came home, and I'm really glad I did. I've been doing plumbing for 27 years. I've learned a lot. I've done a lot of different types of plumbing over those years and worked for at least a few different companies before I started my own company right after 9/11. Right at the beginning of 2002, I started my own little one-truck business. In the fall of that year, I purchased my first small plumbing company called Wayne Wegner Plumbing, which was located in Brookfield. Wayne Wegner had retired and sold it to a couple of his plumbers, and I bought it from them. And then in July of 2008, I bought a company out in Oconomowoc called Kordus-Schuster Plumbing. And so the name of my company has changed a few times over the years, and so right now it's Kordus-Schuster Plumbing. So that's pretty much it about me. Really, my goal really is to build lifelong relationships with our customers. We have a huge customer base of customers that we just go to their homes and do work for them. But we also have an extensive customer base of remodelers, restoration companies like we've mentioned, and rental company or management companies that take care of condo associations and apartment buildings. So there is a lot of other plumbing out there that we could be doing. I don't do any new construction because that industry has pretty much been, wiped off the face of the earth over the last few years. And there's a lot of real technical, industrial type stuff that we don't do. So we do limit what we do. We try to do really good. I put some papers on your table there. I just talked about myself. You've got my card there. You've got my little brochure there. If you can stick that into your little card folder, that would be a great thing. And you just might think of me this spring as you need plumbing around your house. I do plan on starting to do more one-on-ones and talking with key people in here about maybe finding who they might know contractor-wise that I could hook up with. Okay, enough of that. I love plumbing, okay? I love talking about plumbing. I love joking about plumbing, and most people love joking about plumbing. So I have at least one thing common with everybody. But what I'm going to do right now is I gave a little seminar here a few months ago for a management company that manages a lot of condos, and it was a little round table on water conservation. And I've done this before, and I thought it would be just helpful to go through this. If you look at that sheet on there that has the pie on it, the red and the yellow pie. On there, it shows how you basically break down the percentage of uses of water in your home. As you can see, the yellow is the bathroom, so over half of the water that you use in your home is in the bathroom, and then just under half is used to wash clothes, and the other one there is for leaks. 14% of the water used in a home, according to this study, is not really used. It's leaks. As you can see, for the bathroom part, the toilet is 27% of the usage in a bathroom. So toilets are very susceptible to causing that 14% percentage of that is used up by leaks. And you're paying for that. If you're on a well, you're paying to run your pump and everything that's involved in that. If the water's running through the softener, now your softener's working harder and more often. So leaks are a really big part of the things that we take care of in our service division. And the number one cause that we have found for leaks that really cause people a lot of money and grief is toilets. So I'm going to talk about that for a minute this morning. We had one of our rental management companies call us, and they have a property where they have renters, but it's set up sort of differently. The renters each have their own water meter. And so each renter has to pay for their own water usage. They had one of their renters who, over that period of time, and I'm not sure whether it was 2, 3, or 6 months of how often they got their water bill, it went from $150 for whatever that time period was to $450. So they were calling us saying, what's the problem out there? So out we went to take a look. All right? And you cheat. You were supposed to give me 5.
I was falling asleep, I'm sorry.
So we went out there and we thought, well, maybe there's a pipe leaking under the slab or something. Well, what we found was a toilet leak. All right? And, you know, this is the typical mechanisms that you're going to find in a toilet. This is the one that fills the toilet, all right, and it goes off when the water gets up to a certain level. And this is the one that, when you push the handle, opens up and lets the water go out. Okay? Well, pretty simple stuff, right? How could that cause an extra $300 worth of water usage in that period of time? Well, it's real simple. Okay? If this thing is out of adjustment, all right, and the water goes up too high in the tank, it can go over the top of this tube and you won't even know it. And that water will be running through that tube down. You might see a tiny little movement of water in the bowl, but that's it. And the water continues down the sewer. And let's say that was a ½ a gallon a minute, which is easy to run through this. What's a ½ a gallon a minute per day? That's 30 gallons an hour times 24. Explains it right there. The other real big cause of leaks in a toilet is this flapper's not working right. And the water gets underneath this flapper, and that makes the water level in the toilet drop, and then this float will drop and it'll fill the toilet back up. Well, that's not the kind of leak that will cause what I'm talking about, because if that happens, when you're sleeping at night and you wake up and you hear the toilet go on, and then it goes off all by itself, and you think you've got a toilet poltergeist, more than likely it's just that stinking little flapper that's letting water get underneath it. It needs to be replaced. But that's not the bad leak. The bad leak is the one that gets over the tube for some reason, and you don't even know what's happening. All right? It happens more than you might think. We have an apartment building right now that's going through all their apartments and checking all this. And we supply them with a little vegetable dye, and they can put the dye in the tanks and see if the dye comes through into the bowl. So this is the kind of stuff we do. I love figuring this kind of stuff out and telling people about it. It's so simple, but it's sort of like an aha moment. You know, when you see this kind of stuff happening. My guys are very good at going into people's homes and working on this kind of stuff and figuring it out for you. So, also on your table there, you've got some product literature. I've got about 80 rental softeners that I maintain. I also deliver salt, and I sell softeners. And the softeners I sell are from Capital. Capital is a manufacturer right here in Madison, and they give us great support, great pricing, And their equipment is comparable to anybody's. Highly efficient, it's a metered system. Happy to come out and test your water in your home at no charge to you and tell you what it would cost to put in a new softener or put one in if you don't have one already. We also do reverse osmosis drinking water systems, which a lot of people are getting nowadays. If you've ever bought a bottle of Aquafina, if you look on the front of that bottle, it says that the water is made by the RO7 process. It's reverse osmosis drinking water. So if you want to have Aquafina right there at your kitchen tap anytime you need it and fill up your own bottles, you can put in a reverse osmosis drinking water system. All right, so we handle that. The last thing there and also the iron filters. We also do iron filters for capital if you have an extreme iron problem in your home. The Navion tankless water heaters. Tankless water heaters, a lot of people ask about them, not that many people put them in. It has to work for you in your particular situation. This one is a highly efficient one. As you can see, it's like 98% efficient. It's the Cadillac, it's the top of the line. It's a great, great water heater. And if you want to know how it works in action and whether people are pleased with the way they work, you can ask Mike McNichols. Okay? We put one in for Mike. Hopefully he's been very happy with the operation of it. And it works for him in his application. They're not for everybody. All right? But if you're interested in those, you can always just give me a call. And part of my job is to just talk with you on the phone about any kind of plumbing issues that you might have. We don't have to come out and automatically write up a work order and come out and do plumbing for you. I'm there to answer your questions. And if next year you need a plumber, you'll call me. So, do we have, so my time is up. If anybody has, yes, go ahead.
So how do you solve the issue with a cat pushing down the handle on a toilet?
Microwave, about an hour.
Have you got a 22?
Tastes like chicken.
Best answer.
You shoot a hole in the toilet tank and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Do you do well water tests and septic inspections?
I used to, I don't anymore.
Okay.
We refer everybody to Guthrie and Fry. Good quality company, and they refer, and they do well and septic, and then if it gets beyond the well portion, then they refer plumbing to us. There's also another Guthrie and Fry owned by one of the sons who's a water softening business. We don't refer back and forth because we compete. But his dad runs the well business, good quality business. It's best to have the people that specialize in them do them.
I've used them.
Yeah. Just running the water test over to the lab is so time consuming, you know, unless you're really set up for it. Best done by somebody else.
There's other systems out there for water softening other than the salt system?
Yep.
Are there any that are any good?
Sure. But it's what you're after, okay? And a lot of this has to do with value, okay? And value is the balance of price with the features, okay? Water Doctor sells the Kinetico system, okay? There are some advantages, a few disadvantages to that system, very high priced, okay? Very high priced. And there are a few drawbacks to them, okay? A good efficient system installed in your house that uses salt, I believe, provides the best value. Yeah, that's what I believe. And there's a few other technologies out there, one that uses a media other than salt. Does it? My time is up, so I'd love to talk to you about water softeners.
Cindy had a question for you. You're ignoring her.
I just was curious to know how much one of those water heaters cost. I mean, do they range big?
Okay, not this model, okay, but let's say you start with the most basic model and you go on up to the most expensive model, okay? You do not buy a tankless water heater to save money, okay? You buy it for endless hot water, and it's always there when you need it, okay? This high efficiency unit does provide very high efficiency, so that's a good thing, but that's the high end. You have to change the gas line and make it larger because of the way these systems work, and it has to be vented properly outside, okay? And sometimes you have to move the water pipes. So you have to include all this in the initial setup to put a tankless water heater in. The most basic model is going to start just over $2,000 installed. The most expensive model can get up to $3,500, $4,000 installed. Not that mics cost that much, but you can get bigger units, or you can put 2 units in parallel in order to handle the size of a house. Okay, depends on where you are in your own, how things work for you. Okay.
I just have a well, and it keeps moving the inside of the hot water heater where I have to replace the water heater every 2 years.
Okay, well, you need to have me come take a look at that. Because it's not the water heater, okay, chances are it's your water. There are 2 things that can happen in water that'll make that happen. One is if your water is acid, if it's not pH neutral, okay? And the other thing is what's called total dissolved solids, okay? Water has to have a certain amount of solids floating around in it to make it neutral, or to just make it non-aggressive. And if you have very low total dissolved solids, like in a reverse osmosis drinking water system, that thing pulls like 90% of all the total dissolved solids out. Downstream from a reverse osmosis drinking water system, you cannot install a copper tube because the water will leach the copper right out of the tubing. Because there's so few solids floating around in the water, it goes looking for more. Quite often with water heaters, when they have these chronic problems, it's total dissolved solids, there's not enough in the water, or you've got a pH that's acid. Okay, and that contributes. The other thing is electrolysis. Everybody's got ground wires on their pipes in their basement, right? The cable guy comes out, he puts a ground on there. Somebody else comes out, the old phone company, you got a ground. These things cause trickle charges of electricity. And if that charge is running through your water heater, it can cause electrolysis in the water heater. And that can shorten the life of a water heater also.
Are there any more tax credits available on the the tankless water heaters?
No tax credits, there are rebates right now.
Rebates.
So rebates range anywhere from $50 to $250 depending on what you're doing. But those huge tax credits that some people took advantage of, they're gone now, for now.
There was a reason mine went in December 28th.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was deciding on whether to do that before that year expired or wait until the next year and buy a Volt.
Yeah.
Then he could have got the $7,500 tax credit. It would only cost him $30,000 to get it.
40,000.
40,000. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Anybody has questions, you can ask me afterwards, or you can call me. I love answering questions. So I'm Ron Kordus, Kordus-Schuster Plumbing, a tradition of quality and service.